Time now for Eye on Africa. Coming up in South Africa, a boost for President Zuma's ex-wife in the race to become the ANC's new leader. Elsewhere, a Kenyan court orders doctors to end a strike that's crippled the country's health service or face time in jail. And Gabon gears up to host African football's biggest showcase. The action getting underway on Saturday, and we'll have a look ahead at what's at stake on and off the pitch. We start in South Africa, where the race to become the next leader of the ruling ANC is heating up. So set to pick a new head in December, and President Jacob Zuma's ex-wife, Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, has received a boost with the support of the party's women's division. Well, despite a series of scandals, the ANC, which has been in power since the end of apartheid, remains the dominant political force in the run into presidential elections in 2 years' time. For more, I'm joined by correspondent Jane Flanagan. Good evening to you, Jane. Zuma has indicated he won't seek another term, as the rules state, but the scandals look set to stick both for him and his party for some time.
Absolutely. He's widely considered to be a lame duck president now. He has been so dogged and weighed down by scandal upon scandal during his presidency. He did survive a vote of no confidence that was brought by some of his cabinet members, but he is now rather limping towards 2019 when he finally steps down. And of course, the ANC, which did so badly at the polls last year, has been tainted along with him. And so I suppose if he does have one legacy, it is that he really has undermined a party that he promised would reign, would rule South Africa till the return of Jesus.
And what could Zuma's ex-wife potentially bring to the ANC in terms of rescuing its reputation?
Well, she does have some strong political credentials of her own. She's got a strong struggle history as an anti-apartheid campaigner long before she met Jacob Zuma. She served in his cabinet and was widely respected for her technical abilities, although she was criticised for failing to do more during the HIV/AIDS pandemic under President Thabo Mbeki. I think the fact that she's a woman is being seen as a big draw card, because I think the party members who are calling for her to take over believe that perhaps a woman will draw a new generation of voters to the party that they badly need at the moment. But the other people are saying that her close political and personal ties to Jacob Zuma mean that she possibly won't be the new broom that the party very much will need by 2019 when it is time for Jacob Zuma to step aside. So for the long term, certainly she does have some positive factors about her, but other people think her association with Zuma may not be what the party needs going forward.
Jane Flanagan, thanks for joining us. Kenya next, where the pressure is growing on doctors to end a strike that has thrown the health sector into chaos. That after a court ordered unions to end the walkout or face jail. Nearly 5,000 medics have been involved in a dispute over pay and conditions, which has now been running for 40 days. With details, here's correspondent Julia Steers.
Doctors have come out to support their union officials today in Nairobi. The courtroom is packed. Hundreds of doctors spill out into the hallways, glued to their smartphones for a live broadcast of the verdict.
They're using all the intimidation tactics possible. Like, for example, what they think that they are doing today. It's intimidating doctors. They have threatened to sack us.
The government has not honored the 2013 agreement intended to triple the wages of the lowest paid doctors. The purpose of the hearing is to break the strike. And the need for justice is dire. At least 20 people have died due to lack of care.
I sentence you for 1 month in jail, suspended sentence, which will fall down. The sentence is hanging on your head. It will fall down on your head within 2 weeks if the strike is still on.
At the end of the proceedings, relieved doctors pour into the street, celebrating. For now, they have avoided jail time, and union officials can continue their push for change.
If asking for improvement of our public health in this country becomes a criminal case, then us doctors in this country are ready to be criminals.
It's difficult to imagine an end to the standoff within 2 weeks. Neither the government nor the doctors seem prepared to compromise. And strike leaders say they're ready to risk a prison term to fight to enforce the collective agreement.
Elsewhere, a special African Union court has said it will rule on former Chadian President Hissène Habre's war crimes conviction on April the 27th. That in the wake of an appeal launched by the former dictator's lawyers. 74-year-old was sentenced to life behind bars in May last year in a verdict seen as closure for the relatives of up to 40,000 people killed and many more kidnapped, raped or tortured under his rule. Habre was ousted in 1990 by Chad's current leader Idriss Déby and fled to Senegal, where he's lived freely ever since. Lawmakers in Nigeria are debating whether to offer asylum to longtime Gambian leader Yahya Jammeh. That as regional powers attempt to negotiate a diplomatic solution to his refusal to cede power. Jammeh initially accepted defeat to rival Adama Barrow in December's election before changing his mind. His mandate runs out on January the 19th, and West Africa's regional bloc has a military force on standby should he fail to step down. To Madagascar now, where the search for precious stones can prove to be the source of poverty. Sapphires were first discovered in the country in the late 1990s. And today, thousands of people risk dangerous mines looking for them, a hunt that often proves fruitless.
2 weeks to dig a 10-metre hole. Countless grueling trips underground and often years without finding a single stone. In the south of Madagascar, thousands of miners, including children, spend their days looking for sapphires in dangerous and strenuous conditions.
You need to have a lot of energy. It's a scary job. But when you want to succeed in the sapphire business, you have to take risks. Our suffering makes us work harder.
After digging, the miners sieve the earth in the nearby river. More than 40% of the world's production of sapphires comes from this Indian Ocean island. They're mostly extracted in loosely regulated informal mines like this. The 250-kilometre-long Sakaraha deposit is among the biggest in the world and has sparked a sapphire rush. But for most, the rush doesn't lead to riches.
I'm 18 and it's been 8 years I've been looking for sapphires. I found one once. I earned 140 euros. When you find a sapphire, we sell it in Sakaraha and then we come back here.
Mine bosses and nearby gem shop owners can sell a stone bought here for 10 times its value in Sri Lanka, where the best finds are sent to be polished, cut and sold. These Madagascan miners earn money only when they find sapphires or cheaper precious stones. Otherwise, they are given only basic rations.
Every one week, I give foods for them. After heavy stone, I buy from my mining.
But while the dealers reap rewards, the government sees very little in the way of tax revenue. Meanwhile, the routine for Madagascar's sapphire miners continues. Each one praying a large bright stone will transform their life forever.
Finally, football's Africa Cup of Nations is almost upon us. The action getting underway in the West African nation of Gabon this Saturday. France Van Kat's Nicolas Germain takes a look ahead at the issues on and off the pitch.
In Libreville, on the beach and elsewhere, everyone's talking about the Africa Cup of Nations. It kicks off here on Saturday. 16 teams have qualified.
I want the tournament to go well so we can be happy. Football unites people.
The event is taking place 6 months after Ali Bongo's controversial re-election. EU observers said irregularities took place and called into question the final result. Several people were killed during post-electoral violence. So this week, some trade unions called for a boycott of the competition.
This second tournament in the span of only 5 years is not justified in financial terms because it used up money that should have gone to essential infrastructure in the health and education sectors.
Players from the national team are training hard. Gabon has never won the Africa Cup of Nations.
We want our fans, who will be watching the national team closely, to be happy. So we will give everything we have. We want the event to be one big party.
In the current tense political context, there will be a heavy deployment of security forces during the tournament.
That's it for Eye on Africa. Do stay with us here on France 24.